And that something just might change your life and actually make a damn difference in my life.
You're going to want to pay attention to this one.
Hey everybody, David Niggle. You're going to love this episode.
When I showed up the next morning for practice on the outside of the men's locker room, boys locker room, it said, perfect practice makes perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. Now, it's one of the few specific things that I remember from my childhood. Like, that really stood out to me. And I remember thinking to myself, how do we practice perfect if that's the reason we're practicing to begin with? And I talked to the coach about it, and the idea was that if you practice the wrong thing, it doesn't matter how hard you're working. You're not going to get any better. You're going to get worse. We have to practice the right things. Whenever you're creating the success that you want, whatever you want in life, the whole idea is that you believe. Because if you believe, then it doesn't matter what the other things are. You will figure out the things to do in order to manifest it. But the crucial piece is believing. So let's think about this. So this is just a notebook pad, okay? And you see the lines on it, right? I mean, everybody's familiar with the lines on a piece of notebook paper. Let the lines on this paper represent the law of vibration, okay? And basically what the lines are representing are frequencies, okay? So there's millions of frequencies. There's an infinite number of frequencies in the universe. And we think on frequencies. Your thought travels on frequency. And it travels on different frequencies based on whatever it is that you're thinking at the time. If you're thinking more negative thoughts, more base thoughts, it's traveling on a lower frequency. And if you're thinking more high uplifting thoughts, like great expectation or gratitude or positivity or whatever, it's on a higher vibration. Everything that you want to create in your life that you don't have, the way to do it, okay, like the how, all of that, it is on a frequency. Now, if you don't have it in your life, you are currently not on the same frequency as the thing that you want. But you need to move yourself to that frequency. Now, we move ourselves to that frequency by changing what we believe. And this is probably one of the big issues that people have in the way that this is taught over the last 10 years or so, because everybody's like, raise your vibration, raise your vibration, raise your vibration. It's more like raise your belief. Just thinking a positive thought, as we all know, or most of us know, it doesn't really do anything. I can have a positive thought for 5 minutes and a negative thought for 5 minutes, and neither one actually does anything, right? It's not like all the different thoughts that are rolling around in my mind, that those images start popping into my life left or right. It's not how it works. It is the image that we hold for a sustained period of time, along with the harmonious energy that goes with it, that manifests or that creates the manifestation in our life.
Our greatest power as human beings is the ability to choose. We're the only form of life that has the ability to consciously choose one thing over another. It gives us the ability to direct our life. It gives us the ability to create our life. It gives us the ability to set goals, create goals, manifest things that never existed before in the physical. They're completely in the etheric. You're tapping into all of the knowledge. But here's the thing about this that's fascinating. Our job is to choose. It's to decide. God's job is the how. So human beings are forever, what we're really doing is forever deepening our understanding of how the how works, right? So the how is already set, right? Mathematical, scientifical, from a chemistry perspective, understanding the universe, the stars, electricity, whatever. All of those things already work, and how they work has already been established. What human beings are doing is figuring out how the how works, right? We become aware of the how, but the how was God's job or the universe's job. That was established by another form of intelligence, if you will, right? Greater than us. And what we do is we choose how we're going to view it so that we can understand it, so that we can then use it for furthering our purpose in the world. But the truth is that it's only the person that finally comes to the realization that mistakes are okay, and they're willingly to boldly make them, in order to advance their agenda forward, to really learn. That's the person that becomes a genius.
Yeah, that's so true. Man, everything you just said in that just hit me right across the face. I mean, especially the how is God's job. Like, if you take nothing more out of this episode outside of that, like, that is not your responsibility.
Right.
It's focusing on what it is that you hope to accomplish or want to accomplish and holding that in front of you. But the how, because I'm a how guy. Like, I go right to the how. And more often than not, as I age, it becomes more of a pessimistic how it won't work versus the optimistic it will work.
Right.
So it's maneuvering those sorts of things.
And you were a teacher.
I was a teacher.
You were a teacher, so
Yes.
you were part of that.
That paradigm that we passed along to these kids of this is you're exactly right. Like, and it was so spot on when you said we would work with one kid, but we didn't just take that kid to the side and work with them. We basically brought it down to a level so that everybody learned the same way, which, looking back on it, it's not a good way to teach.
Right.
You have to be able to have different pockets within that classroom to be able to allow that kid who's really flying to just go, instead of bringing everybody down to the same level and try to pull the kids from the bottom up, and you're actually pulling the kids from the top down. In the episode, you shared a story about your 7th grade football tryouts and a miraculous catch that you made that left a huge impression on your coach. And you recalled a sign on the locker room that read, "Perfect practice makes perfect." And that always stood out to you. And the lesson that I took from that is, if you're practicing the wrong thing, you're not going to get any better, period. So when you say you have to practice the right things, will we know that in the moment that they're right? Or is that something we learn after considerable time has passed?
This is why I work with people to understand the laws first. Because if you understand the law of cause and effect, you will have some understanding of whether or not you're practicing the right thing. Does the thing that you're doing have the ability to create the outcome that you're looking for? And then logically working your way through it to determine if that's true or not, and then really giving it 100% of your effort to see if it gives you the right thing. And only at that point changing if it's not. But the more you understand those laws, the easier it is for you to pick and determine and evaluate and logically think through what you're doing to see if that has the ability to create the desired result.
When we set high expectations, one of the first things that I think that we have to come from, once we've made this decision to be great, is turning our vision into reality, okay? And this is the part about this that is cool, but it's also challenging as hell. The cool part about this is that nobody else has this vision for the greatness that you want to achieve except for you. So I'm going to say that again. Nobody else has this vision for the greatness that you want to achieve except for you, because God is giving you the vision. Now, one of the problems that goes along with this immediately, and I just want to say this and get this out of the way, is that we have a tendency to expect other people to understand our vision. And you have to realize most people are not going to understand your vision. If you're going to do something that is completely different or outside of the societal norms in your life, other people are not going to understand your vision. They're just not going to understand it. They're not going to understand it. They're not going to get it. They're going to see all the risk in it. They're really not going to be able to comprehend the vision that you have for your life and what it is that you want to achieve. There must be some common thread that runs through everybody that achieves greatness, whether they're conscious of it or not, that they believe that because they can see something or believe it, that it has to be possible to be done. Because it does not make any common sense based on societal norms
that a person would insist on something that people that are more educated and professional than they are, that are telling them that it can't be done, to really push with them to such a high expectation that it can be done. So I want you to hear this quote by Goethe. Goethe said this: "When we treat man as he is, we make him worse than he is. When we treat him as if he already were what he potentially could be, we make him what he should be." Okay? So what Goethe is talking about here is, first you have to have this ability to set a higher expectation for yourself on a consistent basis, right? So that is also part of being your authentic self that we just talked about. You're going to set a higher expectation for yourself, but then you're going to communicate that higher expectation to others. If you're going to set high expectations for yourself, if you're going to take your vision and turn it into reality, you're going to have to be unreasonable to what most people actually think is reasonable. Why? Because people stop at what they believe that they can do. People stop at what they think that their potential is. People stop at what they think that their paradigm is, or where it's telling them to stop. People stop at where they have shame. People stop at where they have guilt in their life. People stop at all different kinds of places that are their own self-limitations. And when you're going to be, when you're going to achieve greatness, when you're going to be a leader in your life, you cannot accept where other people stop. You have to be willing to set a higher expectation for yourself, but then fulfill the commitment to bringing the vision into reality by being unreasonable. By being unreasonable.